What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Schilling N Stunna podcast. Today we will be hitting you with the recap of the Washington and Dallas game. What are your thoughts on the game, bro?
Look, man, we got to win, and that's all I can ask for, man. We 3-1. The defense playing lights out. The offense, hey, look, we making points when we need to. The receivers looking good. We got a Michael Gallup back. He was able to come in, make a couple plays, man. I'm feeling good, man. Everything wasn't pretty, but hey, look, as long as we're in the win column, everything ain't got to be, man. I'm excited.
Absolutely, bro. Yeah, we first drive things didn't look too hot. They were moving the ball on us. We fizzled out pretty quick, but then all of a sudden this pressure showed up. I think that was the Gallimore sack drive. And then there's just like this total momentum shift right in the middle of Washington's first drive.
Yeah, man. Look, I will say this. They started off, they was actually able to run the ball really effectively to the outside. It was kind of frustrating, going into this game, we talked about, Keys and pretty much Samuels and pretty much forcing them to obvious passing downs, making them pass the ball and things like that. But I think, as the game went on, we was definitely able to settle in a little bit. Second half adjustments were made, but just starting off at the beginning, man, I do think on the offensive side of the ball, I would say this, like Cooper Rush, he settled in. He was able to hit Zeke with that pass to the outside. We was moving the ball. And then, on this one, I believe it was I want to say, I don't know if it was a penalty that held us back early on, but for some reason we was moving the ball good, and then we just was able to stall there for a little bit. But I think as soon as they got their feet wet and, got a feel for the game, we was good. Cooper Rush, he was able to take his shots when needed to, but the run game in general, it was kind of irritating just to see them run into the teeth of the defense over and over and over and over again. To a fault, I would say, but in general, I am kind of still happy about the fact that Kellen Moore was able to stay to the run game. Even when it's not working, it's something to be said about that. Staying committed and things like that, and that's something good to put on film.
I think we talked about it before. The split this week was 70-30, whereas last week it was 50-50. I do like the idea of that being closer to 50-50, but offensively, I think we're still looking stale for the most part. Like, we're not putting big points on the board, but defensively, we look outstanding.
Like we ain't got to, man. We will need to score. I think the main thing is when we get in the red zone, we can't keep continuously kicking three. That being said, Myers making them. I'll take three. But with this defense, it seems like all we got to do is put up at least 20 points and we'll be good. We'll see how the next week and after that fares out. But the defense is playing lights out. I was able to just kind of sit back, and I thought it was exciting just to finally see when they was able to push them to them obvious passing downs. Some of those packages that they was running out there. I think, I was able to see like Fowler to the outside, Micah the bookends. Then you had a Dorrance Armstrong and D-Law out there. Then one time I even see Sam Williams. He was lined up to the outside. Well, I think, Sam Williams was in the inside. D-Law, Parsons beside him, Dorrance Armstrong, man. So when those pass rushers get out there and DQ can get into his bag, it's a nightmare for these quarterbacks. And it's like, once we finally settled down, it was like, hey, it was 2nd and 8. 2nd and 8, messing around, it was 3rd and 10, it was a lot of penalties that happened. But let's be real, man. A lot of it is we got to talk about that in context, and the point of that. Once we get these guys, back into long yardage, you're gonna hold, man. It's fierce out there. It's penalties. You got guys jumping, but a lot of that can go into our pass rush and the pressure and the things that we put on these teams as well. Once we get them deep.
Well, one thing, it was cool to see the opposite side of the penalties for once. We didn't screw ourselves this week. It was almost as if they were manufacturing penalties, though, like throwing the ball downfield for PI.
Yeah.
A couple times they kind of sold it on like the block as if they got held. Like it was almost like it was a smart game plan. Like they were milking penalties and almost as if they were planned for.
I'll take it. I will say this, like Jonathan Allen, beast. You know what I mean? Payne, those boys in the middle. Hats off to them. They got some strong players on this interior, man, over there in Washington. And I think they did make things tough for the run game. You know what I mean? Like, I won't even say just left guard. There was a couple of times where I even seen Zach Martin get beat. Biadasz, but whoever was at left guard, it didn't matter. You know what I mean? Jonathan Allen, he was making problems over there. But I think the crazy thing about it while I was watching it, right, and I'm like, why didn't we see more Pollard? Why didn't we see more Pollard? Of course, we want to see more Pollard. I was like, why would we not get to the edge? But hey, look, second half we gave Pollard more touches, and look, to just get them their credit, Pollard wasn't going anywhere either. You know what I mean? It seems that they came into this game to stop the run. So I would say this. I know we talked about pretty much attacking their secondary, right? We knew that they could be had on the back end. So I think when we opened it up and Cooper Rush finally was able to take his shots, you know what I mean? We seen his CD get involved. You know what I mean? He was able to open things up, get us going. Then you seen Noah Brown. He was able to come in, you know what I mean, and make plays when needed. Gallup, when we needed points on the board, he was able to put points on the board. And then also, you know what I mean, at the end of the game, when we needed plays, we needed to close it out, CD was able to step in. So I think it was good to finally see them open it up. I think in the first half, they was just trying to lean on their defense a little bit. And sometimes you got to do that. You know what I mean? You can't, even though it's not working, it's something to be said of keeping your defense fresh. And like we always talk about time and possession and things like that. I think, you know what I mean, that was the key to the game as well.
I think too, Gallup, I was nervous about him coming back, and then it was nice to see him running routes and actually making cuts.
He looked good.
To have him back is going to be nice. McGovern was getting destroyed by
I don't know
Jonathan
why they keep
Allen,
putting
though.
McGovern
Bro,
out
he was
there, man.
boy, he was getting blown up out there. That was
irritated
scary.
me was when Zach went out, right?
Ooh.
And they put Farniak on the right side. I'm like, come on, man. You know what I mean? Like, go ahead and put Peters in there. I don't know if they're still trying to ramp up, give him some time, but it didn't matter who was at left guard. I would say this. The interior didn't look as strong. Hopefully we can get back on the right side of things. That was a strong interior. We will get further into next week. We got to go deal with Aaron Donald, you know what I mean, over there next week. But, you know what I mean, man, it was good seeing those receivers step up, Michael Gallup get back in, and hey, the Noah Brown and Cooper Rush connection, it still look good. It's something that we can lean on every week. He steps in, makes his plays when needed. I want to talk about some of these standouts from the game, right? Go ahead and
Sure.
just kind of elaborate on some of these guys that just kind of flashed and jumped out the screen to you.
Going through my list, Dante Fowler looked like a phenom out there. He finally looked like he was fitting into this roster, I guess. Deron Bland, the rookie, it was nice to see him get his first pick and his first real action. Someone we talked a lot about in the preseason. Yeah. Neville Gallimore, he looked great. He was living in the backfield. He was living in the backfield.
Some big boys in the middle, man. I like it.
And then Brett Maher. I owe Brett Maher an apology for the way I acted upon his signing. That's on me, bro. Yeah, no, Maher has been saving the day.
Yeah, man. He's been, I think, 10 for 11 on the season. His only miss was that long-ass field goal we tried in New York at the end, I believe it was the first half, man. So, I mean, pretty much knocked down everywhere, man. So, yeah, shout out to Maher once again, man, making kicks when needed to. Just to go into some of my standouts, I completely agree with yours, man. Gallimore is definitely a beast. That defensive line, man, I loved it. Definitely fouled him, man. He was popping out the screen, got another sack this week, making plays. Another guy who I think it didn't show up in the stat sheet, right? But I think in general, it's crucial to what we do is D-Law once again, right? He only had one tackle, right? But if you kind of just zoned in and kind of seen what's going on in the game, those big runs that Washington were getting, granted, they was going to the left side. You know what I mean? It might have been one. I believe Williams, he broke loose for like one. But for the most part, D-Law was holding his own. He was setting his edge and pass rushing on the way to the quarterback through the run game. Now, the thing that kind of irritated me was like early on, these defensive ends, they were just kind of just trying to get to the quarterback too much, and these linebackers were getting washed. But just to continue on the standouts a little bit more, Donovan Wilson, again, you know what I mean? This guy's amazing, man. I love to see it. He's flashing. When they send him in there, he's making plays. He's almost had a near sack on Wentz, man. Anything in front of him, he's a missile. Donovan Wilson once again. And look, we can't forget about Trevon Diggs, right? I think he's the biggest key to this game, man. He kind of locked things up on his side. You know what I mean? It was only one catch, 6 yards he allowed, shut down McLaurin. And then look, they was like, man, look, McLaurin can't get going. We're going to try him with Dodson, but hey, what do you know? They tried him with Dodson. That was a wrong mistake. Look, another pick, man. You don't try that guy, man. So shout out to Trevon Diggs, man, this week and also on the year, man. I know we talked about it a couple weeks ago, and you was like, "How you feel about Diggs?" I was like, "Man, I love Diggs. I just wish he would be a little bit more patient and go for the pass breakup a little bit more." And you know, what I mean, he's done that. You know, I've seen this week where he's not going for every interception anymore. And I think this defensive line, the way they
Right.
get to the quarterback, they've allowed him to be patient with his routes and take his chances when needed to, man. So shout out to Trevon Diggs.
I agree completely. Those are great. Donovan is so fun to watch. Donovan Wilson. There's just something about like the energy he
Yeah.
brings. And I have a feeling he could easily become a household name, like outside of Cowboy Nation. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
No, we
So
keep it Donovan. We
there's
keep
just
it Donovan. We ain't letting Donovan go, bro.
no. I'm saying like as a fan, like I don't think
Oh,
many
for
people
sure.
around the
For sure,
league
for sure.
know who Donovan is, but he's such a
Yeah.
fun watch.
Yeah. But just talk about, you know what I mean, the defense in general, man. They did get loose on the running game, you know what I mean, a little bit in the first half. But the second half, you
Mm-hmm.
can tell that adjustments was made. They was committing to the run first, forcing them into those long downs, forcing the obvious passing downs. Hey, and look, when they had to pass, oh look, you know what I mean, all hell broke loose. They couldn't block these guys, man. It was keeping everything in front. And with these guys that we got on the back end, man, we got tacklers, the guys that come up and make plays, man. So that's the formula we need to play with. Not the lights out week for the defense. Now the quarterback under 200 yards. I believe we're now on up to an average of 171 passing yards a game. It's a defense, man, that is crazy. So all we got to do is put some points up, man, and the defense going to be there week in and week out.
I think too, like Washington. I know we were talking about it today. They just seem like such an easy team to beat, but the way we did it to them, if we can do that, we can beat any team in the league defensively.
Facts.
All we got to do, okay, it doesn't work because it's Carson Wentz, but stack the box, force him to throw the ball, drop 4, drop 5, shut down the run, and force these terrible quarterbacks to throw the football against our secondary, and it's pretty simple.
But it's good, man. Like they made that one score, right? I think it was good to see us come back down. And good for Cooper Rush. You know what I mean? He had some throws, some near interceptions. You know what I mean? Granted, you know what I mean, they didn't have that. But when they put points up, he was able to come back down the field right away. You know what I mean? They hit Gallup, man. Once we got up on team, well, not just this team. Once we got up, you seen a complete momentum shift, right? You know what I mean? As far as what we do and how we want to play. And that same thing could be said for each week. If we ever get up and we force these teams to try to get back in the game, try to pass, oh, look, you know what I mean? It's not going to work. You're going to want to stay committed to this team. You want to, well, to the run game. You're going to have to want to stay committed to the run game. And as long as we can hold that fort down, you know what I mean? And like I said, the takeaways is not there yet. We was able to get one this week, two this week. But listen, this year, sacks over takeaways. You know what I mean? We're near the league, top of the league in sacks. We're not quite there yet with turnovers. But I think that's a more sustainable thing moving forward. Like last year, we was getting over to all the turnovers, but we knew at some point that could shift at any moment. You know what I mean? We prefer the sacks, and we know the takeaways will come.
Right.
Before I forget, man, another player who definitely deserves disrespect from this game was CeeDee Lamb once again. You know what I mean? He was getting a lot of backlash the first couple of weeks. Was he a number one, this, that, and the third, man? But I believe he's shown up. He's looked good doing so, man. And he's kind of the engine that's been getting this thing going the last couple of weeks, making those explosive plays. Like even that CeeDee Lamb drive, you seen it was like 3 plays to CeeDee Lamb back to back to back to back. And we was able to drive right down the field. Then at the end, obviously, the beautiful, you know what I mean, the footwork routing up, I don't even know what's his name over there, William Jackson. You know what I mean? CD ate him up. Yeah, he ate him up, man. That was a beauty. And a good thing on Cooper Rush, man, even having that ball on him before he even turned, man. So that's good time, man. And yeah, shout out to CeeDee Lamb balling out, man. Let's keep this going.
Absolutely. This is the Schilling N Stunna podcast. You got any final words?
Shout out to Dallas, man. Look, man, wins. Everything tastes better, feel good after another Dallas Cowboy win, man. Let's keep the train rolling. We got another tough one this week, but hey, man, look, we're gonna continue to beat these boys, man. Hey, look, stay tuned now. We'll be back.